I wouldn't want Jarrell Miller pulling up on me. Can you imagine?
This is Jonathan Aggie, your fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Matchroom CEO Frank Smith here in San Francisco ahead of Haney against Prograis this Saturday night, live on the DAZN pay-per-view. Frank, when you made this fight, did you think it would have the hype, anticipation that it has? Because if you look at the numbers, especially on the shoulder programming, there's a lot of interest.
Look, I think when there was talk around it and they were going back and forth, the social numbers were huge between the two of them. So we knew it was big. Don't get me wrong, I think it's done a lot better than maybe we thought. Look, we're going to have a packed out house at the Chase Centre on Saturday night. A lot of people questioned us coming here, but it's been a great decision, and it's exactly what the sport needs. Going to these markets and pricing the tickets right as well. That's what we've done here, and I think we're in for a great night. And yeah, it's a big fight for the sport, a big fight for the 140 division.
That's been sort of bone of contention with the fight selling out, and Devin's been saying, well, I'm from here, and Regis has said, well, no, you're not. Your dad might be, but you're not. I mean, why has it done so well? Because I think Eddie might have said there's no evidence of shows here doing well,
but they haven't had it. They haven't had it since. I think when we promoted Paul Smith and he fought Andre Ward, it was in Oakland, so just down the road. But there was probably 4,000 or 5,000 people there that night. And Andre Ward was a big name in the sport at the time. It's good to bring this to new markets that haven't had the opportunity to see fights like this, and it's just proven that it works.
In terms of the fight itself, if it goes the distance and Regis wins it, would that be a shock to you or not?
Look, Regis Prograis is, I believe, the best 140-pound fighter, hence why Devin Haney said he wanted to fight him. He wants to fight the best. Devin Haney's a tremendous fighter, undisputed at 135 coming up, and I think we're in for a brilliant fight, and I think this is, it could go either way.
In terms of the pay-per-view, what would be successful? Are you looking at more than 200 at least, or what's sort of the aim for this?
I don't like talking about numbers too much. I think it will do significant numbers. I think it will do really strong numbers. There's a lot of talk about pay-per-view numbers in the market, about other shows. I think this is a fight that can deliver big numbers. Like you say, we've seen it with the shoulder content. People are interested in this fight, and I think we're going to see that with the numbers on Saturday.
And then on the undercard, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to seeing Andy Cruz back. He's been out a bit longer than we wanted. I think this was the right platform to get him out. He could have gone out a month or two earlier, but this was the right platform to get him back out on. He's a special talent. He's got a tough fight against Giovanni Straffon, we all know about. And in your second fight, it just shows the route and path we want to take him on. The Liam Power and Montana Love fight as well. It's a brilliant fight, an important fight for the 140 division as well. Liam Power has been out for, I think, 18 months or so now since his Brock Jarvis fight. Montana Love's going to feel confident that he's been active really in that time. But that's him. That's a great fight. Ebony Bridges is back as well. So, stacked card top to bottom. Excited for it.
In terms of the main event, does anyone have a rematch clause here?
No.
Okay. So, as far as we know, the winner is meant to fight Sandor Martin. Do you expect that fight to happen, or do you think, because Devin's been talking about going up, obviously the winner of this fight, especially if it's Regis, is, a big pay-per-view star, so do you think, they could pursue another route?
Look, I honestly think the big fight to be made is the Ryan Garcia fight. Ryan Garcia looked really good against Duarte. Last Saturday, and I think that's a massive fight for the sport. Would love to see that, but I think they're going to be completely focused, not looking past the fight ahead of them. It's a tough fight for both of them on Saturday. That's going to be the focus, and then we go from there.
Okay, just away from this card, I'm sure you would have seen Deontay Wilder's comments this week suggesting that you guys don't want the fight with him and haven't ever really wanted it. What would you say in response to that?
It's not about us. Like we've always said, that it's about doing the right thing and the fighters are in charge. of what they want and what they want to do. But all eyes are focused on December 23rd in Saudi Arabia. AJ's got a tough fight against Otto Warlin, and he's focused on that, and then we work from there. We all know there's massive fights to be made in 2024 in the heavyweight division, but he's got to get through Otto Warlin first and foremost.
As far as sort of, as you say, Otto Wallin's coming up, he's got Park a bit. As far as you're concerned, does anything stop Wild and Joshua fighting each other if they're both victorious? Because there's some people who feel like you guys might go down the Hrgovic route or something like that. I mean, do you expect Wilder next?
Again, like I said, I just focused on December 23rd because Otto Warlin's a tough fight in his own right, and we don't want to talk past that fight night. And we'll then move on to what's next. And we want to make the biggest possible fights, and that's what we'll work to do.
And then obviously on the undercard, Jarrell Miller, who made some comments this week or last week Eddie made some comments about Jarrell Miller in their conversation, suggesting that Jarrell said, look, you treated me different to the Conor Benn situation, and that if he's ever in New York, he'll pull up on him and things like that. What did you make of when you heard those comments?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want Jarrell Miller pulling up on me. Can you imagine? He just imagine what. But Eddie showed he was ready to have it. I saw Carl Froch going at him today and saying, I'm not sure he really said that, but I believe him. I believe that's what he said.
Have you spoken to Jarrell since anything that's happened?
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't think I have. I don't think I've seen him since the New York press conference. I think it would be. Maybe I have. I can't remember, but I don't believe so.
And then Conor Benn.
By the way, I wouldn't tell him to fuck off.
Huh?
I wouldn't tell him to fuck off. No, I'd just try and hug him really quickly so that lock him up.
Well, you'll be reunited in Saudi. So just moving on to Conor Benn. What is the situation now? Obviously, we know that the board rejected his application for a licence. I mean, have they told you what they want to see? Because is there something that they want before they're willing to approve it? I mean, what conversations have you had with the board?
The board do more talking in interviews than they do actually directly, giving us the information. But look, we can go back and forwards about it all. Our focus is making the fight, and then we go from there. Obviously, we'd love the British Boxing Board of Control to sanction it. Conor Benn is in no way suspended. He's got no suspension, and as he boxed in Florida, he should be able to box anywhere in the world. So, but first and foremost, the focus is making the fight. I don't really want to we can talk about hypotheticals, this, that, the other, but we've got to make the fight and then go from there.
Simon Jordan said today he had a conversation with Conor Benn, and there's more to come out from his conversation. What did it tell you about sort of the case? Obviously, you know more than us, but what did that tell you about what Simon said?
No, look, it just shows the reality of 99.9% of people don't know the ins and outs of what's going on. They don't know the detail around it, and that's because these things are confidential. A lot of the facts around it are confidential, and they can't be spoken about openly. People can judge the way he's dealt with things. Sometimes Conor's had to make decisions based on the good of his career from a legal perspective, because at the end of the day, that's the key thing. To be in a position to be able to fight, it's his career. He needs to make money, and that's his life. So people can judge the way things have been, the way he may have dealt with things, or things that may have happened in the past, but they don't have all the facts to go with it. And the reason they don't have all the facts is because it's ongoing, and that's the way these things happen. So I don't know the context of all of his conversation with Simon Jordan, but obviously you can see Simon Jordan has been the fiercest of sort of detractors or talking badly about Conor Benn over the last year or so, however you want to. He'd use a much better word than me and much better English than I have just then. But he's obviously changed his view on the back of what the discussion he's had. So it's difficult with these things. It's difficult. I'm not saying that everything's been done, played correct from a media perspective, and people are going to accept everything. But there's a lot that goes on in the background that people don't know.
Just finally on the Ben Eubank fight. Is it the license of the fight that's holding it up? Is it the money, or what's really holding this up?
99.9% of the times in life, things come down to money. Obviously, that's life, and making a deal that everyone's happy with. You know, I believe we'll get there with it. If we don't, we don't, and we move on to something else for Conor Benn. You know, and the focus is February 3rd. But that's life.
So he will fight February 3rd regardless. Is that the plan?
That's the focus for us. Yeah. You know, we need to. We're looking at other potential options. But I'm not going to sit here and lie. We want to make the Eubank Benn fight. It's the fight to be made, and I'm confident it will get done.
And final one, is the PBA an organisation you've contacted if the board aren't willing to licence this?
Again, we're talking hypotheticals. There's lots of people that have sanctioned fights in the UK over years. Many different promoters have used. Many different British Boxing Board of Control licence holders have been involved in, and you know, there's been that's always been the way. But again, we're talking about hypotheticals. We've got to make the fight first.
All right, Frank, thanks for your time ahead of Haney Prograis this Saturday.
Cheers, mate.